being recognized today are usually every year we recognize approximately a half a dozen people or so. There's one individual who is always acknowledged as a supplier to the industry. There's one individual who's recognized every year as a partner to industry. So for example, we had last year Dr. Stuart Madden, dermatologist at the young age of 91, who was acknowledged as an outstanding partner with industry, who works with us and the hospital and the government to advance the education of physicians and patients in dermatology. We also acknowledge one individual with the Phil Diamond Humanitarian of the Year Award, somebody who goes above and beyond the call of the industry and partnering with industry. And we usually acknowledge 2 to 3 individuals who are working within the pharma or parapharma space. The people who we acknowledge are usually not people who have been with the industry only a few years. It usually takes a bit of a legacy, and the individuals here usually make a contribution, not only directly to the business, but also in terms of mentoring other individuals and are role models for us all. This is not an inexpensive activity, and I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank the support from the sponsors who helped make this event happen. So I'd like to thank Accuristics, AmerisourceBergen, CCPE, Cegeum Relationship Management, CPDN, IMD Health, Impress Pharma, Meducom, Porter Airlines, STI, and Vanguard. Thank you very much for your support. As an added bonus, some of our sponsors have had a booth prize that we would like to, before the induction ceremony begins, we'll begin with giving out that. So if we can ask Will from Impress Pharma.
Hi everyone, Will with Impress Pharma. So thanks again for all the great talks earlier today, very well done. So one of the things we did today in light of trying to be different, which seems to be a common theme these days, is to do our draw a little differently. So for those of you who bumped into me earlier, I was walking around with an iPad, and you might have walked it and seen one of my colleagues around with an iPad as well, and likely you had a photo taken of your name tag or your business card. So we're going to try to do things a little differently here with the draw, mix it up in this little iPad here, and see who won one of 2 iPad 3s. So Lauren, if I can invite you. Just go. So the first winner is Murray Lewis from Leo. And Mitch basically said he didn't want to enter this, and I made him. And sure enough, it's Mitch who won here. So congratulations, Mitch.
Thank you very much. I honestly only knew them as numbers 3 and number 27, I swear. Next, also Kevin from Porter.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Perrin. I represent Porter Airlines here today. So the prize that we will be raffling off is a pair of tickets open for 1 year to the destination of your choice, of course, that Porter flies. So we now have 19 destinations, the newest of which is Washington, which we will roll out or start in April. So if you win these pairs of tickets, you could indulge in a weekend in New York or a fine dining experience in Chicago, or just go see a ball game in Boston and or Washington. And for the adventurous types in the room here, you could also go to Sudbury or Thunder Bay. For the golfers, you could also go to Myrtle Beach. I forgot that one. Timmins, absolutely. Absolutely. Continue on. So the winner is Neil Maricelli of AstraZeneca.
We've been coming to this venue now for, I believe, 4 or 5 years, and the Hilton Garden Inn has elected to donate a prize as well. And I'd like to call upon Luciano, representing the hotel, to draw a ballot.
Rita Giselle from Pfizer.
All right, we'll contact Rita later, who's obviously not here, and her prize was, oh, unfortunately you have to be here to claim the prize, so I'll just take it on her behalf. It's free accommodations anywhere in the world and for Hilton, especially Hawaii. Oh well. Lastly, we have a prize from Vanguard, and I'd like to call up Kevin, please, from Vanguard.
Hello, everybody. Up for grabs as our prize. I'm Kevin, and this is Jennifer from Vanguard Pharma, is another new iPad, the iPad 3. This door prize was inspired by the fact that virtually all of our sales representatives, that's nearly 100% of our 100+ representatives, are using the iPad in their sales calls with their doctors. So without further ado, good luck, everybody. And the winning person is Trent Myers from Galderma.
Okay, thank you very much. And now on with the induction ceremony. And thanks again to our sponsors who are making all of this possible. And once again, I'd also like to take the opportunity to thank Mitch from the Chronicle, Joe from Pangea, and Ian from IMS for putting on together a great National Pharmaceutical Congress earlier today. So thank you very much for that. The first person to be inducted into the 2012 Healthcare Marketing Hall of Fame is an individual who, one, I will never ever challenge on a golf course because she'll clean my clock. Is an individual who I've had the pleasure of knowing for at least a few years now. And I'm pleased and honored to acknowledge that Wendy Adams, General Manager of Galderma, one of the first females to occupy the corner office in the pharmaceutical industry, is being inducted. And here to acknowledge is Antonia Friedler, the Business Unit Manager, OTCs.
Okay, so first off, my name is Antonella. Sorry, Fiedler. And yes, I have worked with Wendy for over 10 years now. And I have the pleasure and the honor of recognizing her and introducing her today to you all as she is inducted in the Hall of Fame. So I thought about telling you, sorry, I'm just going to change this. I thought about telling you a story about her acute business acumen, or her really smart selling skills, or maybe about some of the historic product launches that she's had, and highlight some of these really great business successes that she's led. Or maybe the 20+ years that she's worked in the pharmaceutical business. But instead, I decided to share with you a story that defines Wendy's leadership style, her character, in a different way. So, you know, while she guides us through this very strong, focused, strategic business plan, she also is the same one who daily, monthly, weekly, reminds us all at our office at Galderma Canada, we have to look around and be proud. And I think this is one thing that I really cherish about Wendy. Be proud. Be proud of what you've accomplished. Be proud of how you've handled some of the challenges you've faced. And celebrate even the smallest wins and you do it with cake at our office. Almost every chance we get. And she is true to her word, and she takes every opportunity to showcase the Canadian wins every chance we're at a global meeting or in an international conference. Let me tell you about the latest one. It was at a global business conference that Wendy took that opportunity once again, building off Canada's greatest Winter Olympic performance in 2010. Wendy built an entire business presentation on the theme of podium performances to showcase our company's business successes in the year. And if you know Wendy, you know, and you won't be surprised to hear that it wasn't just, the performance didn't just stop with a compelling PowerPoint presentation or her outstanding platform skills. No, her presentation continued, and it was accompanied by a dramatic entrance, one that our colleagues are still talking about. And I heard about it just even a few weeks ago at a conference. She didn't walk, she ran, approaching the stage in song, carrying the Canadian flag, waving it as high as she could, wearing a Canadian Team Canada hockey jersey. And I tell you, at that moment, she was not only proud to present to our global affiliates and the corporation our business results, but at that moment, she was truly a proud Canadian, standing in front of colleagues from all over the world. I think she caught the I believe bug, the Olympic theme. That was Wendy. But today, Wendy, your colleagues at Galderma and I would like to say to you, be proud. Be proud, because today we are so very proud of you. So congratulations, Wendy. There you go. Yeah, I take it. I do what I'm told.
Due to safety reasons, I was not able to run in these shoes or boots. Antonella, thank you very much for such a wonderful introduction. What Antonella didn't mention is I normally like to open with a joke, so I'd like to remind you, Antonella, of the day that I drove up to Uxbridge. And there was Antonella walking along the street with a case of beer under her arm. I couldn't help but look admirably at her and roll down the window and say, Antonella, what's that? What'd you get that for? She looked at me and pointed to the case of beer and said, this, I got it for my husband. I looked at her and I said, good trade. Okay, beyond Antonella, I would like to thank everyone, Mitch and company and all the sponsors for such great acknowledgement. And Antonella, you already mentioned, it's hard for me to believe that I've been at this pharma game for over 20 years. Hence why I'm in dermatology now, and we plan to keep the look that way. The time has come and gone so quickly. I'm remembered how wonderful it is to work in such a great industry and how privileged we are. I've had the great fortune to be hired straight out of university, and as you can imagine, receiving a car and expense account at day one. My parents never treated me as well. Anyhow, I have been lucky throughout the years, so I wish I could tell you that I methodically mapped out my career path, but honestly, my success has really come from hard work, having fun at it, and along the way, people took a chance on me. So now as a GM, I get the pleasure of working with a wonderful team, and they're very supportive at tables 2 and a couple other ones, table 9 in the back. And coincidentally enough, a co-recipient, I don't believe Doug Grant is here, but when I did get hired into the industry, it was his territory for which I took over. So I think it also speaks a little bit to the proximity we have. Anyhow, to my group, I'm very thankful for your contributions. And last but not least, I do get asked on occasion what it's like to be a female running an affiliate. Well, it's a simple answer. I've never run it as a man, so I don't know any differently. But seriously, like all jobs, it has some sacrifices. I don't think I can do it. All right, so I'm very lucky, here I go, to have my husband here. And he's 51% of the equation. I am 49. And if you didn't hear me earlier, my husband is a lawyer, so I learned very early in our relationship I'm not likely to win many arguments. So I've settled on a 49-51 split. He gets the job done and more. Case closed. Thank you all very much for your acknowledgement. I'm very happy to receive the award.
Thank you, and once again, I apologize for bastardizing Antonella. That's all right. I'm sure I'll hear about it once or twice before the day's over. For those of you, the next individual who's going to be inducted into the 2012 Healthcare Hall of Fame is Peggy Ahern. And Peggy is currently the Executive Director of the Canadian Association of Wound Care. And is well known to us for many years. And I would ask that you do take the opportunity to look through the wonderful brochure that is provided that does have a more extensive bio for all of today's recipients. Here to introduce you to Peggy is Roxanne Chabot, Principal from RBC Consultants. Roxanne.
Thank you, Lauren. Well, Peggy started her career as a registered nurse, and if you talk to her many colleagues and friends that are long-standing colleagues and friends, because Peggy has this ability to attract people towards her and keep them for years, they'll tell you that her dynamism, coupled with her caring attitude towards people, is really the fundamental of her DNA, both in her professional life and also her personal life. In fact, if you speak to some of her colleagues, they'll tell you that Peggy puts the heart into business. Her business career started as a business development manager for ParaMed, and then she went into product management for Baxter and also Sansella, which is now known as Molnica. Peggy's very well known for her pioneering strategies, both in medical education as well as medical publishing. In fact, in 1985, she approached a dermatologist that Dr. Madden knows quite well, Dr. Gary Sibyl, who's now known as one of the world leaders in wound care, and asked him if he was interested in doing an educational tour across the country with a product called Misalt. So what Dr. Sibyl tells me about that initiative is, first of all, it was the first time it was done in wound care. It was so successful that, of course, marketers in the future have copied it, this strategy since that time. During her 15-year tenure as president of the Medicine Group, she launched a Family Practice, which, as you know, is a weekly publication for family practitioners. She also launched Complete Communication, medical communication, offices Toronto, Montreal, and the Medicine Group in French in Montreal. And she did all of that while raising her 2 children with her husband, Mike. Not a small accomplishment whatsoever. I met Peggy in 1995 when we were working to establish the Canadian Association of Wound Care. And I was marketing and specialized sales manager at that time with Smith & Nephew. And Peggy, in collaboration with Dr. Sibyl, was trying to form an industry forum that all of the companies would contribute to in terms of forming this new medical association in Canada. Well, I don't have to tell you, it wasn't a small task. Most of the competing companies did not want to work together, did not want to collaborate, and did not want to share. But, as usual, Peggy prevailed, and the CAWC was formed, and the industry forum was formed, and it's still thriving until this day. I also remember a really tough situation where we had an advisory board where the vision of the chair and the vision of the company was at odds. And I'm sure a lot of you in this room can share that that is a tough situation to be in. But with her negotiation skills, Peggy was able to find common ground, get both groups together. The meeting took place, and then it formed the Canadian Wound Care Wound Bed Preparation Standards. That is now a therapy or therapeutic approach that's used internationally. In 2005, Peggy decided to work independently, and she took on many projects like the World Union of Wound Care Societies. Again, not an easy task. And one thing with Peggy is that once she takes a project, she brings it to fruition. And even if people are jumping ship, she is the united force that brings everybody back to the table and gets the task done. That was a success. And then about a year and a half ago, Dr. Gary Sibbald begged Peggy to once again come to the helm of the CAWC that was crippled at that time. She, of course, turned it around, and it's thriving once again. And last year at the CAWC, she won an award for her contribution to the CAWC's leadership throughout all of these years. So as a friend and a colleague, Peggy, it has really been a pleasure to work with you throughout all these years. I mean, you've been a role model and a mentor to so many people in the business. And of course, your contribution continue to contribute to our landscape. So it's an honor for me to present to you on behalf of your peers that nominated you, as well as the National Pharmaceutical Congress, your induction into the Canadian Marketing Hall of Fame.
I didn't get tackled. No. Thank you.
I don't know what to say after all of that, but thanks, Roxanne. I want to start, though, by saying that I feel really honored to be chosen to be here today. When I look around the room at all the people that are being inducted today and those who have been recognized in previous years, I'm very, very pleased to be part of that group and very honored. You've just heard from Roxanne a pretty detailed overview of my walk down memory lane, so I'm not going to go into any details, but just to say that